and blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Hi guys, and welcome to Real. I am so excited to have you guys with me. I'm also so excited to be in my comfy clothes in my living room. This is like the dream for me, and this is my element. And so, yes, I am going to be recording here as much as I possibly can. I even think I want to have my guests here, to be honest, because I feel like it's like a cozy environment. Like I want to come online and be in sweats every day and like chit chat with you guys, and I don't know, I just want to be as comfy as possible and feel like I'm in a really good and neutral and safe environment. So welcome. If you don't know what this podcast is about, I'm going to take you guys through it. I'm going to talk about why I decided to leave my last podcast. This episode is not going to be too long because I'm ironing things out and I need to make sure everything looks good. So I'm not going to spend too much time in the first episode. I also am going to immediately start having guests. I'm going to try to have guests, honestly, as much as possible because I really started this, and I'll get into this, but one of the reasons I started is because I love interviewing people and I think it's so fun. And I also think when you have a one-person podcast, it's really vital to have like that other person. Or maybe it's not. Maybe you guys want to hear from me, but we'll kind of decide that as we go. But yeah, welcome to Real. The reason I decided on the name Real, is because I feel like I am known as that friend that is like the most blunt, honest person, even when it like kind of hurts sometimes. I feel like it might be my biggest strength and also my biggest flaw. And so I felt like Real was very fitting. It's just like the thing that describes me. And then I also am using the word real in the way that is everything I stand by. So self-love and self-acceptance and coming on, like, even though I'm in makeup, but this is the first episode. Usually I most likely will not be in like a ton of makeup every day or anything. But yeah, I'm under my blanket right now. Shout out Barefoot Dreams if you're watching the video version. I'm just going to come on and be cozy and talk to you guys and just talk about real things that are going on in my life and also real things that are going on in other people's lives. The reason also I want to kind of get into this as well, the main reason I left Hot Girl Talks was because although it was so fun, I couldn't dedicate my time to two different things. And really what I'm passionate about is coming on here and like talking to you guys and talking about things that I'm struggling with and advice that I have and things that I've gone through. And Hot Girl Talks is so much fun and it is funny and it is like a light listen. That's kind of how we coined it to be. But I couldn't talk about the things that I'm passionate about and want to talk about. Like there's a time and place, and that wasn't it. And so that is why I decided to create Real. And there was a process into me stepping back. It was not an overnight decision. It was actually a long decision and a long time of me, talking to my therapist and my mom and going back and forth on what are the pros and the cons. And ultimately, this was the decision I came to. After leaving, I will say I kind of had a sigh of relief. Also, seeing how Hallie and Jazz have transformed HGT into Delusional Diaries and seeing how they work so well together, the two of them, and the chemistry. And I just think that it couldn't be clearer now that it was the right decision for me to leave. I think they are so similar and so on the same page, and I almost screwed up that flow. And while it was amazing and we built something, we the three of us together built something, now they can take that and run with it. And I'm so excited to see what they do next. One thing about me is like, I'm not coming on here for views or to like have the most viral podcast or to be on the charts. I mean, that would be amazing. But I'm just saying my point in doing social media was never, oh my God, let me get 1 million followers. Let me do this. It's really to connect with the people I'm able to connect with so that I can spread the message that I want to spread. So if I come online today and one person listens to my podcast, but I feel like that helped them in some aspect of their life, I won. I won today because I helped someone. And that is really at the core of what I want to do. Another reason that after leaving HGT, I've kind of realized about myself is I'm not in a place to share my dating life. I know, crazy. I feel like online, there's a little bit of an epidemic of sharing so much of what's going on. And I'm happy to share, like, this is going to be very open and I'm extremely vulnerable and I talk about a lot of things that have happened in my past, a lot of things I'm struggling with, but there are certain limitations that you have to have for yourself. Otherwise, I feel like I would be giving too much of myself to the internet. And I don't want to one day later on regret it. And so there are things that I will be keeping private. My actual dating life, I'm not talking about random hookups or stupid things I did, my actual dating life being one of them. Maybe that will change over time as I get more comfortable. That's just something, leaving Hot Girl Talks, I felt like I wanted to leave behind with that. And so coming on here, so many other aspects of my life are so important to me and are bigger to me. And those are the things that I feel like I can provide value with right now. But I'm going to be giving advice on here. I'm going to be talking to other people about their struggles. I'm going to be interviewing people. And don't worry, we're going to be getting some really cool and amazing people on here from all different aspects of life. So I'm very excited for it. But yeah, I'm in my protecting my peace and privacy era. How crazy is that? Never thought the day would come. But I see people podcasting and sharing so much, and it makes me almost want to keep certain things close to my heart. And so that's what I'm doing. The life transition leading up to this all happening was not easy. To say I struggled would be an understatement. Like, I was like not in a good place for a bit. And the only way I know how to handle a life transition is to sit in the discomfort and like just let myself be unhappy for a while, because you have to know, like, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a matter of when. And from past experiences and things that have happened in my past, I've gotten so down on myself and felt like this is never going to end. And it always does. Like, the struggles always end. It's just a matter of when. That kind of rhymes. So going into this time where I was really struggling, there was a few things that were happening behind the scenes. I think one of the things was the amount of hate that I've been getting online because of my Judaism. When it came to dealing with anti-Semitism, I dealt with it the best way that I could, but it didn't mean it wasn't hard. And that's not to undermine anyone else's experiences. I just felt like I had always stood up for other minorities. And then when it came to me, I was like, where is everyone? And that hurt. And it also hurt when it was like friends or like peers. So it was just difficult. Like, it was just a struggle. And I think that was one of the things that hurt me the most. And also just dealing with that at the same time as dealing with my decision to want to leave the podcast and feel like, what is my next move? And why am I not happy? And why is this not making me happy or fulfilled? And like, it was so hard to leave because the hate I was already getting was translating over to the podcast. Like, I had never really gotten hate on the podcast before. But when people started being anti-Semitic, and when this whole war, not that it started because it's been going on forever, but when things started reaching like the US and kind of Gen Z, people started like taking all of that like hate and putting it at me in like random parts of my life. Like, I would say something on the podcast and they would just hate on me for it. Like, it translated over to other things. So it was just really difficult for me to deal with it. And I just felt like that all added to the fact that that life transition was not easy. I was really struggling. Instead of trying to fight against me feeling sad, I really let myself sit in the sadness and discomfort. I cried on my kitchen floor a few times. It's giving Trisha Paytas. I spoke to friends. I spoke to family. I hibernated when I needed to. And I also probably drank more than the normal amount for myself. Like usually I kind of hate drinking, or at least I don't do it like by myself. But there was a few nights where I was on my couch having a couple Aperol spritzes because I couldn't handle it. And I know that's not the healthiest coping mechanism, but it was what I needed in the moment. And life is about balance. Like I felt like the only thing I could do then was feel fucking sorry for myself and have my Aperol spritz and like order an unhealthy meal and just sit there and like feel sorry and feel sad. And if that's the way I wanted to deal with it, so be it. I don't deal with stuff like that every day. And that's not the way that I choose to deal with things most of the time. But that was what was going on in the moment. I really just, I couldn't figure out any better way. But then as time went on, I started seeing a little bit of light. So one day was better. And then all of a sudden 2 days were better. And then all of a sudden I had 3 good days. And then more days started to be good than not good. And that's a pattern in my life. Anytime I've ever gone through something hard or bad, that's kind of how I've come out of it. It's been like all bad and then a little mixed and then more good than bad. And so I think that's something that you can take with you. But this life transition was not easy. I still am transitioning. My apartment's a mess. I'm not clean all the time. I struggle with being organized, and having a clean apartment like makes me happy. Like there are just certain things that I can't be perfect all the time, but I've gotten back into my workout routine more, and I've gotten busy, and I've started to feel like I can be social again. And so I'm feeling a lot better about that transition, but it wasn't easy. Another thing that I realized about my transitional period was when things get tough, people reveal themselves to you. When you are going through something hard, you need to take a good look at the people that are there for you and the people that surround you and rally around you. There are certain people that didn't show up for me when I was going through it. And this has happened in my past too, in the ways that I needed them to be. And you shouldn't have crazy expectations for your adult friends because everyone is going through their own things. But it's the little things. It's the text every once in a while to check in and see how you're doing. It's the, do you want me to come over? Do you need anything? I'm here for you. It's those little tiny efforts that make the world of a difference. I even notice it when someone is maybe going through a loss. I always will make a point to just reach out to the person and say, I'm here for you. Do you need anything? And I know not everyone can do that or is capable of that, but it's important to just show that you care, even if it's just the most minimal effort. This is something that my mom has always told me. Like when times get tough, look around. And who's there? Those are the people that are your real friends and are going to stick by you. So now fast forward, I have my podcast now. I'm in my new apartment. I feel like those were the 2 pieces that were things I was really struggling with. Let's talk about the things now that I'm struggling with. And in every episode, I'm going to talk about something I'm struggling with. And it's not because I'm complaining. It's because I say it in hopes that one of you might be, not hoping, but in hopes that one of you might be struggling with the same thing and might feel less alone. Or a few things I'm struggling with right now. One of the things is body image. The Ozempic chic thing has gotten to me. It's gotten to me. I'm just going to be so for real. Like ever since everyone started getting on the Ozempic train, at least in New York City, it is hard to watch. Not because I don't approve of what everyone else is doing. You can do whatever you want with your life. It is because of my personal issues and my personal insecurities. And everything in life like that you have an issue with, it's always kind of a reflection, especially things like that. Like it's a reflection of you. It's not anyone else's fault. It's a free country. It's a free life. You can do whatever you want. And so I am not angry with anyone or resentful of anyone for doing what makes them happy and what is right for them. However, when it comes to me, I've been struggling with watching it. And as a person that has always struggled with body image and has been looking for quick fixes my entire life, aka Weight Watchers, South Beach diet, you name it. I've tried it when I was younger. Like, this has been very hard to watch because I see all these people losing weight really quickly, and like the body checking and the wearing these cute outfits because they feel like they finally can wear that stuff because they feel secure. And like, that's always been my dream. And that's where things are getting real. I'm talking about, like, I'm not beating around the bush here. That's always been something that I aspired to. It's not my fault, society's fault. I've been working towards not aspiring to that, but I can't freaking help it. It's hard when my whole life I feel like I've had trouble dressing myself and dressing for my body and like feeling insecure in what I'm wearing and always feeling like I can't wear a certain thing because of how I look in it. And seeing people lose all this weight and like being able to wear these like micro mini skirts and showing their stomachs and just like, I don't know, looking so confident and looking so happy, even though we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, it hurts and it's hard. It doesn't even hurt. It's just, it like makes me a little like, not like, I don't even know if envious is the right word. It just makes me feel some type of way. But here's what I've been doing to kind of overcome that and make myself be like, okay, you're actually not going to fall into that trap and think about the Ozempic world because it's not worth it. Here's why it's not worth it. Research, side effects. 2 freaking words. Research, side effects. The side effects of Ozempic are freaking gnarly, okay? And if you have diabetes or if you are overweight, and that's a different story because then the pros of going on Ozempic outweigh the cons. But if you are a normal weight, the cons actually outweigh the pros. I've asked doctors about this. It actually increases your risk of cancer. That is called cons outweighing the pros. Do you know what else it does? It makes you shit your pants. It makes you literally have explosive diarrhea. It makes you have horrendous acid reflux. It makes you be antisocial and feel like you can't socialize with other people. I have talked to so many people that are on Ozempic about this, and these are the responses that I have gotten time and time again. Not only have I talked to people that I know, peers that have been on it, but I've also talked to doctors about it and friends that are nurse practitioners, and that is the verdict. This is known information. And so if you're struggling with your weight, struggling with a health issue, struggling with your a thyroid issue, that is a whole different story because this is something that can actually help lower your risk factors for cancer or diabetes or other things. But if you are a normal weight and you're going on it, you're just increasing your risk factors for things like cancer or things like gastroparesis, which is literally when your stomach freezes and you can't eat or digest food or water. Like, I'm not saying this to try to scare people. I'm saying this because it is real and it's reality. And so these are the things that I remind myself when I'm like, oh fuck, that girl got really skinny and I'm really fucking jealous because she's wearing that really cute outfit and I definitely can't wear that. Like, that might not be the best way to make myself feel better. Like, someone might look at me and be like, why can't you just like deal with it? Like, just get over it. Well, it's easier said than done. So if I need to tell myself all of these things to make myself not want to go online and probably be able to get a prescription for Ozempic, because these days it seems pretty fucking easy, a little too easy to be honest, that's what I'm going to do. It's called protecting yourself and protecting your peace. You got to do what you got to do. So body image is something I've been struggling with, but that is the thing that I keep reminding myself when I see someone and I'm like, damn, they got skinny. And also giving myself the consistent reminder, because I always say this, skinny isn't everything. Where someone might be skinny, they might be struggling in another part of their life. And you have to take the good with the bad. You just have to. You can't have it all. And so it's just a matter of what part of your life do you want to be bad and what part's good? Or what part, not even bad, just what part do you want to be something that you're struggling with or something that you think twice about? I hope that made sense. because it makes sense to me, but I'm hoping it makes sense to you guys. You can't have it all. You got to pick and choose. It's just reality. It's just life. And so for me, I choose my happiness over being thin. That's just reality. That's what I choose. I'd rather be happy. I'd rather be social. I'd rather feel good. I'd rather go to my workouts and feel healthy and strong. And I'd rather be hungry and eat my favorite foods. Like I love my Sunday pad thai, Sunday sushi. I love my weekly salads. I love Naya. If you haven't eaten Naya, you need to eat Naya. It's so freaking good. Anyways, that's just the point of it. I choose happiness every time. Another thing I was struggling with, and I still kind of am, is alcohol. Alcohol is a whole different beast. And I've realized that living in New York, I think everyone struggles a little bit with alcohol. Not in the way that I have like an addiction or a substance abuse problem, more in the way that I drink more than I would like to because of how much in New York revolves around drinking and how I feel. And I think maybe other people feel this way. I've been feeling lately like if I'm not going to drink, I might as well not go. And I know, and I'm very aware that that's not a healthy habit, but it's just how I feel. Like I feel like as a person with social anxiety, it just takes the edge off, even if it's just one drink. And even if I'm going to dinner with family and like my family's drinking, even having that one drink in the moment, it's just like I have fun. I have a good time. And then I'm sober again, and then I'm like, why did I just do that? And maybe that's just me feeling guilty about it when I shouldn't feel guilty. It's like you should be able to have a drink in moderation, which I do. But I think it's just the fact that because I have been drinking so much in my social life, when I'm with family or when I'm doing something that's like not a social anxiety thing or not like a like really social thing, it's like you can just have a Diet Coke, like just chill out. And then I was at a wedding this past weekend, and now I'm going to Miami this weekend, and I'm going to drink again. And if you're wondering why my voice is so hoarse, it's from alcohol because I get the worst reflux from drinking. It's like horrible. So alcohol doesn't make me feel good. It makes me anxious. It makes me feel more like less productive. It's not great. I don't love it. And I also went on a date last week. We're not talking about dating life, but I'm just saying I like going out on dates and going to dinners for brands and things like that. Like I just feel like so much revolves around alcohol, and I kind of have a hard time, even if it's just one or two drinks, just not having that one or two drinks to take the edge off. And so I'm trying to figure out that balance, and I don't know, maybe I'll do sober January or something. I didn't do it last year, but I have done it basically every other year before that. So it might be something that I pick up on again because I feel like it really resets me and it makes me happy. So that is just something that I'm thinking about. But balance is hard. Like my whole life is about achieving balance, and it's not easy. So alcohol is one thing I'm really trying to achieve balance with right now. The next thing I'm struggling with is routine. And routine is the thing that keeps me in check and the thing that makes me the most happy. When I'm away a lot and when I don't have like a certain morning routine, I literally feel so out of whack and so crazy. Like the mornings are when I'm my most productive self. It's like it's 9 a.m. right now. Like I'm vibing, I'm talking, my social battery's at its full. So I feel like when I wake up and make my bed and have my workout in the morning and like just those little things, like making breakfast for myself, those little things that create that routine for me every day are the things that like bring me the most joy in life. Structure actually brings me joy. And I don't know if other people are like that, but it does. On the flip side, I think if I had too much structure, it would make me depressed. So I like that I do have the freedom to be able to change my plans if I want to, or run errands throughout the day or do things like that. But I think in the mornings, I really need that morning routine to just send me off for my day on a good note. And working out is definitely a huge thing for me. Like I need the endorphins. It makes me feel more productive. Like when I just get my workout over with, immediately I'm like, all right, what next? Let's go. Let's check more things off the list. Like it makes the world of a difference. And so before, when I was kind of going through my transition period in my struggle and I wasn't working out because I was like paralyzed by anxiety, I felt awful. And now I feel like I'm finally getting back into that, which feels really nice. But I'm definitely struggling just with finding that balance and finding that routine, since I'm away literally every freaking weekend. And then I come back and I unpack and my apartment's a mess and the organization is just not there. So that's something that I'm really trying to work towards. And one way and one solution that I found is a 3 things a day rule. So immediately, like when I wake up or even the night before, usually probably in the morning, I'm opening my notes app and I'm writing down 3 things that I can accomplish that day that are the bare minimum. So yesterday it was like work out, record a podcast, like film a brand deal or something. Like just 3 simple things that I can do that aren't asking too much of myself, because at the end of the day, like, I'm not an overachiever. Well, I am an overachiever, I guess, but I'm not like a make myself stressed out, pack everything I can into one day, because I think life is about balance and I don't want to burn myself out. So I think my days have to be balanced as well. So I'm just trying to do 3 things a day, not overwhelming myself too much, just setting some type of structure in my day. And every time I check something off that list, you get a little boost, you get a little motivation, you feel those endorphins hit, and you're like, okay, I feel a little more accomplished now than I did before. And it just encourages you to keep going. And the last thing I want to talk about is self-comparison. The way that I have been comparing my success to other people so hard lately, and I know so many other people struggle with this, I've realized that, to me, I like feel like my whole life I've had so much fucking patience. Like, I started this kind of like journey with social media, let's say, and journey with wanting to talk about my life and stuff. I started it really at like 16. I started a blog. It was called All Things C. And then I changed it to Au Courant Life, which means like on trend. LOL. It was a funny time. I started it when I was 16. And when I was 16 and on, it's not like I was getting the recognition I deserved right off the bat. And things are a hustle. Things should not come easy. But I worked through it all through the rest of high school, all through college, after college, and then I saw growth. But then lately, I feel like I felt a plateau in my career. And that's where kind of this podcast has come around, because when I was on HGT, I kind of felt that plateau and I was like, I'm not doing as much as I want to be doing. But that was when the self-comparison really started to hit me. I'm like, I see this person writing a book and this person speaking on a panel and this person getting recognized in Forbes and this person hitting 1 million. And it is hard to not compare yourself. And it's like, what people always ask me, like, oh, like, do you ever get sad that you're single? No, I don't give a fuck. To be honest, all of my self-comparison comes from my career. It's always been the most important thing to me. And maybe that's a problem. Maybe I put too much pressure on it sometimes and I'm too focused on it. But it's just the truth. It kills me. I compare myself so hard because I feel like I work just as hard, a lot harder too, than the next guy. And yet sometimes I feel like I don't get the recognition or the appreciation, or I don't know, that I deserve. And it's like, do other people feel that way? One more thing I'll say about self-comparison is nobody sees you the way that you see you. So like, you're always going to be your harshest critic. You're always going to look at yourself and criticize something and be like, I don't like the way my nose looks, or these pimples are crazy. You know, when your friend comes up to you and they're like, oh my God, I'm having a horrible hair day. And you're like, it literally looks the same as it does every single day. Like, that is the definition of how to feel better about self-comparison. Like, everyone is so focused on their own selves and their own lives that like they're not going to zoom in on the things that you're zooming in about when it comes to yourself. I also think like people are so quick to congratulate you and tell you that something looks beautiful, compliment your outfit. Like, you're probably so quick to do that for others. You're just not going to be that quick to do it to yourself because you're with yourself every single day. You're not going to notice those things about yourself or feel the need to compliment yourself about them. And also, I always think about the fact that how would other people view me? What would someone else say about me? Especially when it comes to my career or if I'm insecure about my looks. I'll think about like, oh, if I saw a family member that I haven't seen in a while, like what would they say about me? They'd probably be like, "Oh my God, you look so beautiful." Like, and then I would talk about something that I'm doing. I'll say it out loud, something about my career, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, like I'm so proud of you. You're doing so great." But then for myself, I look at myself and I'm like, "Oh, I'm like a failure." So I think it's important to zoom out and kind of be like, okay, what would like my aunt say to me? Or what would like a friend that I haven't seen in a while say to me? I think those are the important things to remember. You're never going to look at yourself and be amazed. Like, I think that we should strive for that. I would love to look at myself and feel amazed, but I just think that's rare. And it's more often than not that we kind of just are criticizing ourselves instead. So just remember that next time you're like comparing. One final topic that I have to touch on, I said this episode was going to be short, that I've been thinking about so much lately, and this is so off topic, is lip filler. I have been seeing like so many people, I feel like, getting their lip filler dissolved lately. And I feel like the lip filler epidemic was like insane for a while. Like so many people were getting their lips overly filled and now everyone's regretting it and getting it dissolved. And I stopped getting lip filler like maybe at this point, like 9 months ago or something like that. And I realized like I look so much better without it. Like I look at pictures of myself before when I had more of it. Like I'll go through my camera roll and I'll be like, ew, I looked like a duck. Like I looked crazy. And again, this is a to each their own kind of thing. I just like feel like we get a warped perception. Like once you start getting filler, you think that it's not as much as it actually is. Like you get used to your face like that and then you want more, more, more. And it's kind of scary. Like you get like literally a totally different view. It's like body dysmorphia kind of like you don't get the same view as like before when you just started. So I stopped getting it and like I came home and my mom was like, you look so much better. And I look at myself and I'm like, okay, sometimes I'm like, do I just want a tad? But at the same time then I go online and I see other people that get it. And I'm like, no, I do not want more. Like I do not like it. I also think that because scar tissue builds up, I think I still have scar tissue from previous times that I've gotten filler. And so my lips like automatically are kind of still bigger than they ever like when they were when I started. And I also overline. If you're on the audio version, you can definitely see I overline the shit out of my lips. It's so easy. Get a really good lip liner. Like I just think I was wasting a lot of money before and I don't know, I feel like it was just a trend and it was a fad, but it's like your face, you know? Like some of these fads are like a little scary because it's your face at the end of the day. Like I just think we need to be careful with what we decide to do to ourselves. And so that's why I decided to stop getting it. And I am the first person to say like I am pro plastic surgery in moderation. And I think the word moderation is very important. Like I got a nose job when I was 16, but like it's not like after that it kickstarted me getting all these things done. Like I got it, or no, I wasn't 16. Sorry, I was 19 actually. My mom got a nose job when she was 16. I got a nose job when I was like 19 or 20, and I hadn't gotten anything since then. When I graduated college at 22, I got a little bit of lip filler, and I also do a little bit of forehead Botox, like just in the center, so I still have movement, but it's preventative. Those are the two things that I did. I stopped doing lip filler and I'll probably just honestly get forehead from now on as needed. But I just think everything in moderation. I see a lot of people doing a lot of different procedures and I don't know. I just can't help but feel like, are these people going to regret it later on? Because everything is such a fad. Like all these different like plastic surgery trends. I just feel like, do we even know like what the risks are to them? So I don't know. It's just something to think about. And I know it's so good to have influencers have transparency on social media. I think it's good to know when an influencer is doing something so we don't think, oh, they just like naturally look like that. But I think it's also important to take it with a grain of salt because I would hate for people to watch an influencer's story of something that they got done and then be influenced to get it done almost. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's a hard thing because for someone that has already decided or has wanted it for a long time, an influencer might just help them like if they're going through the experience to like know what to expect. But I would hate to see an influencer literally influencing someone to get plastic surgery because they did it. And so I don't know what the solution is to that, but I just think it's a hard thing. But I'm hoping that if there's one thing today I can influence you to do, it's to actually wait and think about getting lip filler and not just jump on the trend, because trust me, I just think it was a trend, and big lips are not going to be like, if you have naturally big lips, they are beautiful. If you have naturally small lips, they are beautiful. But don't just do something because it's trending. Please don't, because things go in and out. That's just my thought process with it. But that's why I stopped getting lip filler. I just feel like I looked a little bit warped and a little bit crazy. But to each their own. I'm just sharing my thoughts. Because like, #real. One final thing I want to leave you guys with. I have realized that becoming the best version of myself is a slower process than I thought. I think like I look forward to myself in 5 years from now and I'm like, oh, you'll be perfect. I don't know. Like I feel like I look at myself in the future and I think I'll have accomplished certain things and be happier with myself and more secure with myself. And they're almost unrealistic goals. Like I think our life and our self-worth and our self-love and becoming the best version of ourselves is a journey and it's not a destination. And so I look back 5 years ago and I think like, oh, when I was 26, I'm going to have this, this, and this. And I look at myself now and I'm like, well, I don't really quite have those things, but I've improved and I've grown. And I think we need to start looking more at our self-growth and less at like reaching a certain point of I've accomplished something. Like it's not black and white. I feel like it's like recovery, for example, where people say recovery is a journey. It's not a destination, and recovery isn't linear. It's the same thing with becoming the best version of yourself. Every week when I come on here, we're going to be talking about different ways that I am improving, that I am growing, or maybe that I'm having setbacks, because again, it's not linear. You can take 3 steps forward and 1 step back. I'm here to share my journey and all the things in between. I'm never going to share a destination because I don't think it exists. I think we're all just trying to be better. But I don't think there's one point that I'm ever going to come online and say, I am absolutely healed from this, or my life is absolutely perfect in this way. So keep that in mind with yourself too. Like we're all on this journey together. I'm learning and growing while you guys are learning and growing. And this is not a podcast of me preaching at you. I'm giving advice, but it's not me saying that I know it all and this is certain. I'm saying these are the lessons I learned. These are the things that I'm saying to myself this week to help myself through what I'm going through. And maybe it'll give you some ideas. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just a person that's trying to become the best version of herself. And I'm here to bring you guys along for that journey and talk with you along the way. I'm excited for this next chapter. I hope you guys are too. I'm excited for you guys to join me every week, every Wednesday. And I am so excited to have some amazing guests on. Please send your suggestions. So if you haven't already, please give me a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you are subscribed to me on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. YouTube guys, make sure you subscribe. And also be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you and I will see you next week.